This is a Fox News alert. Documents obtained exclusively by this show a few hours ago show that yet another key player in the Mueller independent counsel investigation has deep ties to the Democratic Party establishment. His name is Aaron Zebley. He is described in media reports as Mueller's right-hand man. Back in 2015, Zebley was a lawyer in private practice, and he represented Hillary Clinton IT staffer Justin Cooper. Cooper is the one who, personally put in the Secretary of State's private illegal server in her Chappaqua home. Congressional investigators sought to meet with Cooper, but they were stonewalled again and again by Zebley. Documents that we obtained today show the frustration of the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee in trying to get to Mr. Cooper because, and we're quoting now, Mr. Zebley telephoned Homeland Security Committee staff to inform them that Cooper had chosen to cancel the interview. In a letter to Cooper, congressional investigators complained that, quote, "We are troubled by your attorney," referring to Zebley, "his complete refusal to engage the committee in a discussion about how to further assuage your concerns." Take that in for a minute. A lawyer who played a defense role in the federal investigation into Hillary Clinton is now playing an offensive role in the federal investigation into President Trump. This is not the first time the Mueller probe has been dogged by questions of partisanship. FBI official Peter Strzok, we've been telling you about all week, was removed from that probe, demoted to the HR office over at the FBI, following the discovery of anti-Trump text messages and pro-Hillary text messages he had sent to his mistress, also an FBI employee. The investigative team over there includes the Mueller team, Kyle Freeney, he's an Obama donor, and Jeannie Rhee, who once represented the Clinton Foundation. To make matters even messier for the Justice Department, by the way, a senior official recently demoted amid an investigation into his contacts with the opposition research firm that produced the now discredited Trump dossier. Initially, Justice Department officials would not provide the reason for the official's demotion, but details were later turned over by Congressman Devin Nunes, who found the official had met with Christopher Steele, the former British spy and author of the dossier, back during the last campaign. Boy, it's a lot to digest. All of it comes as FBI Director Chris Wray was grilled by Congress this afternoon. Take a look at part of that.
I'd ask you again, surely you've examined the definition and the distinction between extreme carelessness and also extreme carelessness and the gross negligence that's within the statute. You really going to tell us today that you don't have an opinion on that distinction?
Gross negligence is the language in the statute, I believe. But I believe also that almost anybody who grabbed a thesaurus would say that gross negligence and extremely careless are pretty darn close to each other.
So if they're close to each other, then why change it? That's the question Steve King might have been getting to. Congressman Steve King of Iowa joins us on the set tonight. Congressman, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Tucker.
So before I ask you about your hearing today, this news that Aaron Zebley, who is working with former Director Mueller, head of this investigation, once was the personal lawyer of Hillary Clinton's IT guy and blocked him from coming to Congress. Why would Mueller hire an obvious Democratic partisan for a politically sensitive job like this?
You know, this whole thing screams of conflict of interest along the way. And the question was asked today of Director Wray, and we didn't get a lot of answers from him, but he's got a difficult tightrope he needs to walk here, too. But the question was asked, essentially, did you have a criteria that they needed to be pro-Clinton in order to be part of the team? Or did Director Mueller have that require that you need to be pro-Clinton? Or was it just happenstance, and where the only people he knew to tap into was I'll say the group of people who are Clinton partisans. But it looks like every single one of them is a Clinton partisan.
What's so grotesque and ironic about it is the whole point of the independent counsel statute is to reassure the public that the investigation is above politics. That's why it's taken out of the hands of the DOJ leadership. So you'd think that Mueller would go out of his way to make certain that no one on his team could be accused of partisanship, and yet almost all of them seem to have ties to the Democratic Party.
If not everyone. And then I thought Trey Gowdy made a really good point today when he said, if you're a jury of someone's peers, every day in America, people are called together, 12 peers sitting there, and they are forbidden from even deliberating on the evidence in front of them until the last evidence is in, and then they get their jury instructions, then they go back into the room and deliberate. But in this case, we've got decisions coming out. We've got Comey deciding before he issued the statement in July 5th of a year ago, July 5th, the conclusion that was was going to come with the investigation of Hillary Clinton. Another thing that I brought up to Christopher Wray today is that the testimony that we have from Comey, from Loretta Lynch, is each of them appointed 3 members, 3 of FBI, 3 of DOJ, to interview Hillary Clinton, to investigate in the, quote, matter, which we know was an investigation. But there's no audio tape of that investigation. There's no video of that. There is no transcript. There are only the notes of the investigators who, and that's essentially proprietary. So the advice that Comey gave was not based upon any text of anything or any evidence of anything. It was just the briefing of the 3 agents that he'd appointed.
Let me just bottom line it. Would any normal American, you or me, have been treated in this way by the FBI?
I don't know. I don't know. Not on the favoritism side. They wouldn't have been. But I'd ask also this question. It was if Michael Flynn can be guilty of lying to the FBI, how would the FBI know if Hillary Clinton lied to them if they don't have any kind of tape or video or anything?
Because they didn't want to know. Congressman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tucker.
Joining us now with reaction, Counselor to the President, Kellyanne Conway is with us. All right, forget about those people because it's a joke. It's at this point they're a caricature of themselves. But the more important issue is this. Is this a fair investigation? Could you imagine if this was against the Democratic president, only donors to the Republican Party, people that were texting back and forth involved in the investigation that hate one side and love the other side? At some point, Kellyanne, you got to say, don't we need a justice system that's fair, balanced?
The president has always said that. He respects the rank and file at the Department of Justice and the 35,000 or so who work for the FBI, but we can't have a politicization of any investigation. It should be transparent. It should be independent. And what you and James Rosen and other reporters who care to know all of the facts have uncovered is very troubling to any American who's paying attention. This Peter Strzok guy, boy, is he the busiest guy in Washington, D.C. I don't know if I've ever sent 10,000 texts in my life, let alone to one person. He's carrying on this relationship. He's sending 10,000 texts. He's putting energy into being systematically against Donald Trump, which is not his job. He is really at the eye of the hurricane of so much. He is changing the language to protect Hillary Clinton. It sounds like he's present when her top confidants are being interviewed. He's present when she's being interviewed. This is the entire problem that Americans have with Washington, D.C. and had with Hillary Clinton. The idea that she's always above the law, there's a double standard. And Sean, anybody, and this includes everybody, who has wasted all of 2017 talking about Russia, Russia, Russia in this investigation, they are duty-bound to cover this aspect of the investigation. This guy in the Department of Justice, he's 4 doors down from his boss, the Deputy Attorney General. He's in Main Justice. He's on the main floor there, and he is meeting after Donald Trump won, which they did not expect and they did not want. He's meeting with the head of a guy who put together a dossier using DNC and Clinton campaign money and trying to figure out a way to discredit the democratically elected president. It stinks to high heaven. And look, I think there's so much going on so quickly with all this information that it's very easy for Americans to just tune it out or feel, oh, it's confused or it doesn't affect me. What are we doing for Christmas? What's going on for New Year's? They will pay attention. And part of it is the media have set a trap for themselves. They've been so obsessed for a year plus with what they consider to be an important investigation. They've been talking about Russia and not America. But it also shows something else. I want to say one more thing. Hillary Clinton, she already had every advantage possible. All the king's horses, all the king's men. She had so much more money, so much more personnel. She had all of the mainstream media. She had all the Democrats. She had so many people behind her. Two presidents, her husband and her predecessor, who's by the way, whose record did not get a third term through her candidacy, Barack Obama's. She had all these advantages. And then after she loses, she still has advantages. She still has people going for her. Donald Trump won on the issues. He was a much better, brilliant communicator and messenger. His ideas prevailed. Hers failed. And this idea on his health is offensive. I won't even dignify it except to say, remember when Hillary Clinton folded like an accordion in front of the whole world on 9/11? We said nothing about it the whole day at the campaign, zero. She folded in front of everyone. And apparently she had pneumonia 2 days earlier. And you know what she did that night? She was at Cipriani with her high-class donors, calling the rest of us irredeemable and deplorable with pneumonia. Then she takes 5 days off before the debates. Donald Trump's doing 7 rallies a day and showing up to the debate to beat her. She's taking time off to rest, and we're going to talk about his health. It's a joke. The man's the most energetic, engaged person I know.
I do remember her collapse and a bunch of other issues that came up during the campaign. Kellyanne, good to see you. We appreciate it. And,
thank you.
Thank you so much.